Welcome to Reliant Roundtable, where real estate gets real. Today, we're not just talking about homes, we're stepping into the stories that live inside them. At the table, a powerhouse broker, Ryan Long. Him and his mother, Sue, have built a legacy over decades. And now, as the next generation, he's rewriting the playbook in real time. Together, they've walked through front doors at life's biggest turning points, first homes, last chances, fresh starts, and everything in between. Because real estate isn't quiet, it's layered, it's emotional, it's the sound of a deal holding on by a thread, and the moment it all comes together. This isn't about listings, it's about people, the risks they take, the moves they make, and the stories that put the real in real estate. So lean in, you're not just listening, you're stepping inside. Welcome to the pod, Ryan.
Hey, thank you so much.
Woo!
Appreciate
Ryan
it.
Long
Thank
in the
you.
house.
Thank you. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Ryan, tell me a little bit about your story, about how you got into real estate. What's your point of view or brand when it comes to real estate?
Yeah. I mean, I took a circuitous route for sure
I'm
by
not even
getting
sure I know what that word means. You got
a roundabout way. I wasn't a
I've got, like,
direct,
fifth
no straight
grade
lines.
vocabulary is all
Okay.
there. That's all I can handle.
It wasn't my intention. I always told my mom, never going to be a real estate broker, but yet here I am. I grew up wanting to be a stockbroker, and so that's I've always been an investor and thought about things that way, which honestly has translated way better to real estate than I ever expected.
I find that fascinating because I'm a mom and I have two boys, and my oldest son, like, I would have never thought he would have kind of followed in my footsteps. If you would have asked me when he was young, like, I'd be like, he'll never do that. And my company cast the very first season of The Bachelor, and he's casting it now. And I really call
crazy.
like generational and a full circle moment. But and even my 16-year-old who is a sports nut and loves this and that, like, I was just auditioning with him yesterday for a movie role, like self-taping. So I always go like, is there something with boys and their moms?
That's
The age-old question.
I think that's a question for my psychiatrist or coach.
I don't
Phil
mean
Donahue.
and I don't mean that in a.
I know.
You know what I mean? I just think, look at my boys. I think girls are different with their moms than boys, and it's interesting to see a lot of boys do follow in their mom's footsteps.
Yeah, both my parents are small business owners, and so everybody was like, "Are you going to be a real estate broker, or are you going to be a veterinarian?" And so those were my two choices.
Big dichotomy, though. Big dichotomy. Do you want to put your hand up a cow's ass to see if they're pregnant? Oh, can we say ass on the pod?
It's not the ass,
Oh.
but he's a
It's
llama.
not the
He's a llama
ass?
specialist, and I've
he
seen
really?
it a lot. Yes, I've seen
I
a lot.
didn't know that. Wait, and it's not the ass. You can say ass on the pod.
Okay.
But did you have a love for animals and llamas?
I mean, I like animals, but I don't love
Have a love,
animals,
like, yeah.
and that's not
Just
the
wasn't
way
your thing.
my brain's wired, I guess,
Right.
and probably saw enough blood and guts and everything else. So the funny thing is that I like bringing this up. My dad will hate it, but one of the benefits to being a veterinarian is that, and with specialty breeds, when they're trying to create a market for it, they start saying, "Hey, we're going to sell llama meat. We're going to sell emu meat." So some of my dad's clients that haven't made it, we've actually had like emu sausage and a llama stew and all sorts
Really?
of stuff.
Is it good?
It's something.
good?
It's food.
Okay, yeah.
I don't
All
know.
right, okay. Yeah. I'm not eating gator.
Maybe we cut that.
Yeah.
I'd try an alligator. I've been watching
You would try an
this
alligator?
alligator wrangling show. I'd try it.
Ah.
Yeah.
I did a show
snake.
years
I
ago
tried
in
snake.
Australia in Sydney, and I was like, do people eat kangaroo? They eat kangaroo.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not eating that cuddly, cute little kangaroo. Absolutely
Mhm.
not. Yeah. Top of the morning to you.
You
Oh,
must not be hungry enough. Yeah,
No.
you must.
So now, how did you get into real estate?
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
your mom is a realtor and it has a big legacy.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like that legacy
No.
term, meaning, how did you get in real estate? Besides
Honestly,
your mom being in
it
it.
took a few years, but she kept talking to me about business opportunity there. I was at that for several years working for Fidelity Investments, and so financial advisor with them, and again, more the investment side. And I was living in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I was like, I need to get home to Oregon, and it seemed like a great path to. And she said, hey, come join me. We need the next generation, essentially.
That explains
And
a lot because he does a lot of investment properties. And now it's all clicking for me. It's like, I see. You like the numbers, you like the return on investment, what is it, the cap rate or something?
cap rates, yeah. You
um,
got to have high cap rates, and yeah.
Well, can I ask you a question? So being in Corvallis, a college town, um, are and you talk about investments, do you see like when kids come in and they're starting their freshman year and rich parents go like, instead of me spending $2,000 a month on rent, let's buy something for 4 years, we'll pay the mortgage. And then if you decide to live there, or then if we want to then Airbnb it or use it for the next generation and just rent it out and make money. Do you see that a lot in a college town?
We do.
like
I really,
Corvallis?
honestly, I love those because number one, they're not as price sensitive, and they're,
What do you
they're
mean price sensitive?
that means they're willing to spend a little bit more in some cases to make sure that their kids have a comfortable spot to live.
Right.
right.
But the neat thing is that those are going to be by and large repeat clients too.
Right.
And so I've had several instances the last few years where I've gotten to sell the homes. They've, part of it's the COVID bump, but they've done extremely well. And so there's some pride there saying, hey, came full circle with
Right.
some of these people. And right now I just took a couple listings with some people that have owned their properties 12 or 13 years. And man, they're doing well. And one of them's a hot
Doubling-
commodity.
doubling
Scott, you
or
got to see,
tripling. Yeah, that was
the second one we went to is actually the one that's getting all the attention because it's slightly lower price point, but five
Well,
bedroom
fill
near.
us in.
Yeah,
The
you
audience is like, wait, don't leave us out.
These are kind of older homes in the college area of campus, and they're meant to rent to individual students.
Right.
Each student gets a room.
Okay.
There's just a lot of character in those old homes.
I
And
love
he
those when I
does-
see them
he
on
does a
Van
lot of
Buren and
those.
Harrison, those beautiful like old
Yeah.
craftsmen.
How old were they?
Both early 1900s, I think 1903 and
I love those. We
1915.
rented an old farmhouse of 1911, maybe. And it was by the Waldorf School. Have you seen that big white house there?
By the
By
way,
Conifer.
oh yeah.
Conifer
Okay.
and
Mhm.
Highway 20 there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why I call my parent company Highway 20 Productions, by the way.
I love that.
Because
Yeah.
my grandfather and grandmother both passed there, and that's where I proposed to my wife, and it's got a lot of meaning to
I
me.
love that.
So, but I heard that he won it at the racetrack, won the house. Back Corvallis had a horse racing track near HP.
I
Yep,
never.
they raced horses, and he won the house at the racetrack, and I heard that he lost it there later this month. So,
Go.
Well, everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
But my point is, I love the country club
Yeah.
area
That's beautiful.
because I like that it's like off the beaten path. And I love up Timber Hill, like where Jonathan Smith lived. His house was
We shot his house.
gorgeous. You shot that house. Gorgeous. And what did that sell for? Like 2 million or 1 million?
yeah, it was kind of funny too when he opened a couple of the closets. There were the Michigan State banners inside.
Really?
Oh, really?
That traitor!
Already. So
Traitor!
it was in the plans for
Yeah.
a while.
And then I
Yeah.
opened another closet, and this will probably be the last time. There was a first down marker, one of those big red ones.
Yeah.
And it's like,
You
wow,
should have
don't see
used
that
that.
very often.
You should have used that in your tour.
Yeah,
You should have.
I should.
As a little history, but so now with these athletes coming into OSU and making their name, image, and likeness, they're making some money
Yeah.
now. Like they're coming in and getting $1 million, 500,000, 200. Do you see them investing in the community?
I haven't been involved with any student athletes yet. It seems like a really interesting place to go. And I think after a few years, some of those athletes are going to be so, that are from out of town are going to be connected to the
Right.
university and Corvallis in general that they
Right.
might. But I don't see it as much as I don't think that's as much of an opportunity as maybe some other cities where, a bigger town where they, I don't know, they see more longevity or see themselves moving back
Right.
there or something else.
Yeah,
So.
but don't you think in a college town like Corvallis, you know that you're always going to get a return on your investment in the sense where even if you decide like, I don't want to live there anymore, you can rent it out because there's always going to be new students coming in that are going to need housing. It just seems like it's
All these student rentals, they've got, 100% occupancy. So yes, they rent extremely, extremely well.
and even the Airbnbs in Corvallis, there's times like in June, like I'll rent one because my younger son's birthday's in June and I'll be like, oh, let's rent an Airbnb in town and we'll have like a party. Forget about it. They want like $700 a night, an $8,000 cleaning fee. So I'm like,
I need to check those rates. I got a
You
couple.
better check those
Well,
rates.
I put
Maybe
a
you're a
couple of
little
my
low.
houses on
Do you
Airbnb.
have some
and every once in a while.
Airbnbs?
You got investment properties, right?
Yeah. So I focus on furnished rentals and mostly looking at 1 to 6 month stays. That's my specialty.
Got
So
it.
not quite the Airbnb, but when I do have vacancy, I flip the switch to put them on Airbnb. And June is the
It's the
time.
hottest month.
I'm trying to keep 1 or 2 of them open for
Because of
mid-June.
graduation?
Exactly.
But let me ask you a question. So you rent them for 1 to 6 months. Who's renting it for 6 months? What kind of
all
vibe?
sorts of people. I mean, right now the bigger homes, and I have a range of studios to 3-4 bedrooms. The bigger homes are insurance claims, and so people that had weather
Damage, weather, got
damage.
it.
It's not that many storms that we have, but there was a few trees that fell on houses in November, and a
What
couple
about
of
like
those
traveling
people.
nurses and
It depends. My property in Albany, that's at a little lower price point, that gets a ton of traveling medical
Right.
professionals.
Mhm.
Yep. And right now, lady just moved in yesterday that's going through what the opposite of marital bliss? What would that be?
Divorce.
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 I could say that.
Oh my God.
We could call that bliss too.
Yeah.
FYI.
It wasn't
We
bliss
could
for
call
me.
that bliss.
It wasn't
Yeah.
bliss
Yeah,
for me.
So there's all sorts of people, but the one of the neatest things that I found, and I didn't realize when I first did it, the first time I did it is because I'm taking off to Europe for 3 months, and I was like, I'm getting out of here, but I need to make some money on my
Right.
house, so I was able to rent 2 of them while I was gone. And then so that was the first idea, but it is actually clients. I've had so many opportunities to put clients in my home for short amount of time or long,
That's
and
nice.
both listings, I had these cat ladies. They had 3 cats, 20 plus cat trees all over the house.
Do you allow them to
Wow.
have that many pets?
I mean, no, yeah. I'm a pet friendly place. I mean, more than 2 dogs or 2 cats scares me, but my places are all pet friendly. And so
Right.
I said, we can't list your luxury property on the market with
With a bunch of
20
cat
cat
trees.
trees
Right.
everywhere. Even if it didn't smell. Even if it doesn't smell, everybody's gonna think it's cursed or something.
When we take photos, we avoid those or take them out of the shot. People don't want to see that there were pets in a house. It's like strange.
Yeah,
But then they'll
even
put their
though
pets in the house.
most people do have pets.
Yeah, they have pets
So
in
I
the house,
said,
so-
hey, the first 2 weeks we have it on the market, when we have all the showings, why don't you guys stay in my place? I'll give
And
it to you for
got
free.
it. Smart.
That's nice.
Or messy kid. I've got a lady that's going to move 2 of her adult sons in the house,
Right.
just because they're, it'll be easier to show without them there.
So is this the house hacking you speak of?
House hacking is a little different. That's a way to purchase properties, because the best kind of loans are owner occupied loans. You get a lower percentage,
Right.
the lowest. So you get a better deal on the mortgage, but also you get really low down payment. So with a normal investment property, it's like 25% or more that
Got
you have
it.
to have as a down payment. That's a lot of money. I mean, do okay in real estate, but not that good.
Right.
So yeah, you can do 5%, sometimes even less.
Really?
Down on, as long as you're going to live there, and as long as you live there at least a year, you can then go and buy the next one. And so that's
Without
the
paying
plan.
like capital gains tax or what's the
with
hack?
the
Tell me
more
what the hack is.
well, so the hack comes from partly another term, but yeah, as long as you live there a year, the mortgage companies don't like you to say, I'm gonna buy a house and live in it, and then 2 months later do the same thing, and 2
Right.
months later.
Right.
They don't, as long as you stay there at least a year and have a history of staying a year, they don't worry about it as much, but they do worry about, hey, this person's trying to use our generosity. I don't know if that's the right
Right.
term with banks, but so the hack is
I don't
really.
think anybody's ever said.
I don't think ever said bank and generosity. in the same
Yeah.
sentence.
Okay. First time. There's the first time for yeah.
That's a word hack.
Yeah. So the hack is like, how do I keep my living expenses low? And so house hacking means, how do I keep my living expenses low? So there's that first part, but really it's about, either for some people it's renting out rooms. So when they're younger and they're okay with roommates, renting out rooms. If they're older, it's about buying a duplex, triplex, fourplex, and
Right.
renting out those other units. And that way your own living expenses are cheaper.
Right.
And or finding other ways to make money on houses, renting out the garage or shop,
So
renting out
ADUs,
this.
right, is the latest thing, because
Yeah.
Oregon is just kind of forced cities to allow this. Is that true?
Yeah, it's been like almost 10 years now.
10
Because
years.
of the homeless, correct? That they really
It's just I mean, that's putting the vision on it the last
Right.
5-10 years,
Right.
but it's really, I mean, we have a housing crisis and prices, went up, rents
Right.
went up,
Right.
everything's going up,
Right.
and we're so behind in building that they
Right.
said we need to figure out. So ADUs was the first step, like 8-10 years
You need to
ago.
explain what that is.
ADUs, accessory dwelling unit. So it's a small house. Most cities say 900 square feet or less that you can put on the same lot as an existing house.
Do you still have to go through all the permits and rigmarole and all like if you have a house and you want to put an ADU on, what is the time frame like dealing with permits with the state of Oregon? Because I know in California,
Benton
after the
County.
fires and the Palisades, which is where I live, raised my kids in the Palisades, they're just getting killed. My friends there, and you know what is the crappiest thing? Like a girlfriend of mine, she had a $4 million house burned down. State Farm was like, they're going, well, we're paying 60% on like, yeah, they're not
On the
paying the
damage?
100% on like, they're like, we had to collectively, otherwise we're going to go bankrupt. I just went to State Farm here and I go, why is my car insurance going up? Haven't been in a car accident, don't have a ticket. She was like, well, we got to, for all
Fires
the
in
fire in California. I'm like,
We're
so
all paying for
we're
it.
all paying for it. But, and I heard the state of Utah or Wichita is suing State Farm because they had like people like there would be a tornado and your roof would be blown off your house. They had to have State Farm as their insurance company. They'd call State Farm, an adjuster would come out and go, roof looks fine. And the guy's like, well, there's a hole in the middle of it. Like they're like, yeah, roof looks fine. So the attorney general in the state of Wichita, Kansas has said, no, we're collectively suing State Farm because when they want our money, we pay them. We don't say, I feel like paying you only 70% of my bill, 60%. No, we pay the whole amount. Like, so that's interesting. But what I wanted to ask you, California's getting burned with the permits. What's the time frame in Oregon? So if I bought a house and I go, because I would think from an investment standpoint, which is, I know, and this is a little house hack. So I buy a $300,000 house in Oregon, and it has a beautiful piece of property. It's sitting on a nice piece of property where I can easily put a 900 square feet ADU. And I can rent that out to a student, hopefully, which will pay partially my mortgage. But what is the time frame we're looking at to build an ADU with permits in the city of and the state of Oregon?
So
the city of Corvallis.
part of the regulations that have come about recently is that cities have to streamline some of the process, and because it's not a true development, it should go straight to permits instead of going through planning and other things. So you should be able to get permits within a month or two.
Really? That's amazing.
And then a couple months to build. So yeah. And then the other neat thing is that the second step was doing middle housing, which is just a fancy term for duplexes and everything that's not an apartment building or a single family home. There's a lot of things that used to get built back in the day, duplexes and cottage clusters, they're called, with a bunch of tiny homes in a circle, or around on a single lot. And so Oregon has pushed all the cities to do that again.
Is that okay? Corvallis High School, there's a little.
Yes.
Tell me
Yeah,
about
what is
that,
that?
because I drive by there all the time, and my son goes to school there, and I was like, are these going to be tiny little?
Yeah, that's going to be one of the two big cottage clusters that's going into Corvallis right now. The other one's at 9th and Conifer.
Now, do you buy those?
yeah,
Are
I've
those
seen too.
rental? How is that working?
Those are probably going to be rentals, and so
Who owns the land?
somebody bought it for 1.5
So
million.
a developer bought it for 1.5 million.
Yep.
And the city of Corvallis is saying it's okay. You can put 12 little tiny cottages on that
20,
single
it's
family.
a little bit, it's about 20 some. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Actually, the state said you have to allow people to do this. Here's what we think the rules should be. And then the city did say yes to those rules. The rules are that, they've got to be, they can be really close. You can,
Right.
yeah,
and you can
setback.
see how close they're going to be. Yeah.
Right. But the big thing is that you have to have a common courtyard, and depending on how many units, it increases by the number of units, and there's specialty rules around parking and that kind of stuff too. You don't have to have parking, but if you do, it has to be away. You can't have like garages or whatever. And so and then there are size restrictions. Most of the time people they have to average under 900 square feet, but you can have, anyway, up to 1,200. Anyway, it
But
gets
I have
complicated.
a question for you. And is there a cap on the rent that person so they could rent them out for whatever they want?
Market rates, yeah.
Market
Yeah.
rates.
And I mean, most 900 square foot places.
What do you think
they're
that will
gonna
go
be
for rent wise?
A 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, you could do a decent 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and 900 square feet.
And new construction.
A new construction. I mean, well,
17.
way more than that. No.
2,500?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2,500.
Isn't that great? So they're going to be making a killing, whoever bought that.
It's
Well, that's
you think
other people
that,
can
and
do
then
it.
and then you realize how much construction costs,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Right.
anyway,
'Cause
yeah. And so it's
you've
not
done this
quite.
whole gamut, right? I mean, you're kind of an expert in this.
I get interested in lots of categories. Actually, my lender was like, "Is there something you haven't done?" But anyway,
Well,
I always bring interesting projects to him.
and
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
people have to realize watching, I mean, when I bought my very first house in California in the Palisades, I said before, I bought it for 535, had it for 17 years, sold it for $2.2 million. But it became like a bank in a certain, because I had so much
Ec-
equity, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody's going to loan you money because they'll just take your house, which is worth so much. But I also to me, like California rents are, my kids in California are paying $5,000 a month for 2 bedroom in nice parts of town in
Right.
West LA. But I
Damn.
say to them, Jesus, I go, my mortgage on the house that you grew up in the Palisades was $3,200. Like,
Mhm.
meaning a house that I
Right.
owned.
That's
Mhm.
grand.
That's
It's
grand.
beautiful in the
Exactly.
best
Right.
neighborhood in
And
town.
you
Yeah,
guys are
yeah, yeah.
giving you're making someone else super rich, FYI.
Mhm.
But do we see rents like this here because it's a college town? It's like just supply and demand. There's just, people are going to come to college here.
Yeah.
And so the supply is limited, obviously, but you can demand such high prices because.
I mean, there's a lot to the backstory, but it's just
It's
limited supply. It's all about supply and demand.
'cause
Corvallis
Oregon
was
State keeps adding more and more people,
mhm.
but Oregon State isn't building a lot of housing
Housing.
units
And
for
there's
it.
so much land here. I'm off Peoria Road, land after land, mile
You
after
can't
mile of
can't build out there. It's all
Yeah,
the
if you
state put up regulations in the
Really?
70s and 80s. You can't build on farmland. They want to keep it farmland. So there's all these urban growth boundaries and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason that we're in a housing crunch now is because all these regulations 40, 50 years ago, and they progressed to make it harder to build, and then now we're feeling the effects of that. And some people say the pendulum's going to go too far the
Right,
other way, and
right.
it's going to be too easy to build.
Right.
And we're going to see some big developments in Corvallis in the next 2 years. We're going to have a lot of housing built, which is
Right.
exciting.
That's
It's
good.
exciting. I like that.
Because my kids couldn't even afford to live in the
Which
town
is
they grew up
sad.
in.
It's crazy.
It's
Sad,
They
yeah.
gotta go to Albany. They gotta go to Adair Village, to Dallas, wherever it is.
Is that because it's a college town? Same thing I can imagine in
unaffordable for 'em.
Eugene,
Yep.
University of
Yep.
Oregon. I mean, in Oregon, such a hot.
They've had a lot more development the last 20 years. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people came in and tore down those old houses and
Right.
put the big 5-bedroom, 5-bath.
Right, farmhouses,
Yeah.
white, and
as well
black.
as Albany has been doing. I mean,
Yeah, they've been developing pretty well.
Alex just is like yes to this development, yes to that, and they just build, and kids are going there.
What about interest rates, the market, the economy? How has that affected, real estate?
I mean, everything's tied, but and this might sound naive or something, but Corvallis is a little bit of a bubble, partly
Right.
because it's such a high demand place, and there are feeder cities around that people would prefer to live here, and we have a huge number of people that commute into Corvallis that would prefer to live here. So we're in a
Right.
little bit of a bubble. There's always demand, or there has been. Even in the Great Recession, prices went down a little
Right,
bit, but
right.
not much.
Not
So
much.
we're in a little bit of our own deal here in
Right.
Corvallis specifically, but yeah, it's all connected. We see things slow down and speed up, but nationally, home sales went down quite a bit as interest rates went up, and we were down the same amount of transactions. Transaction count went down most places 30-40%, and we were
Right.
same story, but values very rarely fluctuate, which is good and bad. I mean, some places, Portland every once in a while, or even Albany, you'll see prices spike, and Corvallis is pretty steady Eddie.
I was reading about the Ritz-Carlton in Portland and how, half of it, you can have condos and residential living, and then the other half is the hotel. But that developer with the living took a bath because they really overestimated what people would pay in Portland. They were asking for like 900 square feet, 1-bedroom condos with an HOA of $2,000 a month. They were asking originally 1.2 million. Now they're selling them for 550 and 600,000 because there's just no one.
And yeah, there's other things of that too. Obviously, the homeless population there,
Right.
And it seems like it's back on a better swing for Portland. Portland's
Right.
coming back up. But
Tell me what your favorite kind of deal is. Like when a client comes to you and says, "I've got this," and you're like, "Yes, this is exactly what I love to do."
this is what I want to buy.
Yeah.
I,
Or what you want to. I want to know like the transactions that you love. Do you love the older houses? Do you love duplexes, quadplexes? What's your favorite?
happy buyers or happy seller, happy clients at the end of the day,
Commissions?
yeah, cash deals or,
Right.
no, I mean, easy is always great, but honestly, the hard ones are that much more satisfying. I just closed 2 weeks ago on building right next to the post office, or clients did, and we've been working on it 9 months, and that's a really
The
long
post
time.
office downtown?
Right across the street from that, there's a red building called the Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just bought that. It's a really neat, 1880s home.
Commercial?
Yeah, there's bottom floor is 3 commercial properties, and then
You can live.
upstairs is 10.
I have a question for you about that. Why is downtown, was that for post-COVID, where like downtown could be so cool, but you vacant. I mean, I don't, does brick and mortar not want to come in? And there's also that new hotel they're building, which everybody says is
It's
going
a
to be
block from that. Yeah, that's how. Give it 2 years, Corvallis downtown's going to look a lot
good.
different.
Yeah.
Some of those are because these projects have been in process for a while, and part of it's probably owners that are
Being greedy and not.
or
Yeah.
just trying to control. People will move in and they try and run the business, and so then those people
Can you
move
do
out.
that?
I've heard a couple of those landlords. I know which ones you're
I
talking about.
Can you do that legally?
I mean,
No,
no commercials. Yeah, I mean, not like run it, but you can have a say. You can say, I don't want this kind of business in my building. You can be.
I would say kiss my ass.
Mhm.
I would.
And that and yeah. Anyway, yeah. So some of that
You got to be
I
careful.
would too. I
know,
would too.
but
Yeah.
you- yeah,
Some of the
yeah.
landlords
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I
And I've
mean,
heard so many stories like that. Wait a minute, they did what to you? And
Yeah.
like,
and then they
what?
demand a certain percentage. Some landlords.
I don't
can-
hear as much of that
hear that.
Right.
around here, but yeah,
No,
that's more
you
retail.
know where that is?
Malls.
Okay,
and
I
stuff.
looked at renting space when I first moved here, and it was across from OSU, where like, and they said, well, OSU owns that little strip with like the 4 commercial spots where the old yogurt store used to be and all
Uh-huh.
of that. And I said, okay, cool, that's fine. Like, well, what's the rent? Well, the rent's this, but you have to kick back the school X amount of dollars. I was like, why? What are they doing for me? Are they coming and cleaning? Are they helping promote my business? Are they
Sending
going
you students, I guess.
I'm like, are they going to do the books with me?
Right.
Cook the books with me? Meaning, where am I getting the value of giving them a piece? I'm Italian. I'm old fashioned. You know what I mean? My grandfather came from Sicily.
I thought that was the giving back a piece. That's exactly what you're used
Exactly.
to.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
Is-
I'm thinking, are you going to break some knees, kick some
Yeah,
ass?
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
going to go after my competitor? What am I giving you a piece for?
That's funny.
And they were like, just because. And I go, oh, well, no, thank you. Yeah. I don't like just because. I don't like but or if.
I think the malls all used to do that back
I know.
in the day.
Back
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
day.
I
Now
know.
no one's going to
No.
malls.
Now they're turning them into data centers.
Right.
I've heard so much of that.
So do you think, like, interesting, like about that too, like HP and like, I heard at one point they were going to have like, the semiconductors that for AI were going to come and use the and that was going to put X amount of money into Corvallis because these engineers would come. Did that ever?
We're seeing some of that.
You
I mean,
are?
not necessarily HP, but the CEO of NVIDIA went to Oregon State.
Right.
So they're building a huge AI data center, and I think it's going to bring a lot of research and a lot
Right.
of, high-minded people here to town. So I'm excited about that. That's
I am
getting
too.
close to
Anything that's
being done.
high-minded and brings and gets downtown, because I'm from California. I mean, I went to a comedy show at Majestic on Saturday, which was fun. It was packed. And I was just like, God, I want more arts. I want more stuff like that. I want to walk downtown and grab a bite, go
It's
get
so
a
much
drink.
better than it used to be. I mean, they've
And-
added a lot to it.
and
Go to the
for
Peacock
a-
for a little karaoke
I
after.
love that.
For a town of our size, Corvallis has a ton going on.
Right.
I mean, I coming from LA, it's or New
Right.
York, it's nothing.
Right.
But for a town of our size, there's because of the university, we're really blessed that there is a lot going on.
We got to
and
work on some good sushi, FYI. Anybody
Yes.
listening, we need some good sushi in Corvallis.
yeah.
Terrible.
I don't like sushi.
Terrible. What?
I grew up in Alaska and catching fish every day. I do not want to
It's
eat it raw.
2026.
I don't want to eat it raw.
Okay, I have a question
I'm
for you.
sorry.
Why
I
we
could
have,
have it as fresh as you wanted, right off the boat,
Right.
slice it.
That's sashimi.
Sashimi.
That's it.
I heard a
No,
rumor also,
not me.
like we have Ross and we have TJ Maxx, but they won't let any other big box stores come in here. Why are they so worried about? You would think once again, call it. If I have to go to Target, I'm going to Albany, which is fine. But why?
You can't even buy kids' clothes in Corvallis.
Why? I know it's crazy.
It's
Why?
crazy. Ryan, help us.
It's partly, I mean, the NIMBYism, and it was hard to develop in
Wait, what,
Corvallis.
you're back in that.
You
You're back
gotta
in
go
that
back
12th
to-
grade.
yeah.
Bring her
Okay.
You
down.
lost us on NIMBYism.
So
Is that heatyism, needyism?
not that exciting
Okay.
as he yeah.
Necrophilia?
We're not
I mean,
no.
Bring her down for us.
Bring it down.
No, I mean, it was hard to build in Corvallis. People wanted to stay the same size. It grew.
Anti-growth.
Yeah, anti-growth
But
is
what-
NIMBY.
but
Not
what-
in my backyard is what that stands for. I don't want it around here. Big
Not
box
in my
stores
backyard. Okay.
ruin. I don't know. There's just no character, and there's just no. This is what people think. And so yes, Walmart tried to come in for years and years and
Which is
years.
what it- but
and
we
it
have the
was-
wall.
They
yeah.
finally got the grocery store through. But yeah,
Grocery store,
it's,
I mean, I guess we're going to get as close to Target as Walmart.
We're sending all our business to Albany, paying their wages.
Yeah, I always
and,
am going to Target in Albany. I'm always going to Albany. It's great. And I go to Eugene a lot because I like the mall in Eugene. You have a Sephora, you have all this.
Southtown really gets a shaft too, right?
Oh, Southtown really
yeah,
gets
they
the
don't have
shaft.
a
Yeah, that's
grocery
where I live.
store.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you live in
they-
Southtown. Yeah. And
yeah.
it's funny.
So-
I was just recently in LA and someone was like, well, what's the homeless like in Corvallis? I'm like, there's 7 of them, and I know everyone's names, and I know where they hang out, and I know what every sign means, and I mean, like, you know what I mean? I said, it's not like
nothing like LA.
nothing like LA.
It's funny. Some friends stayed with me for a long time from Anaheim, and they were like, all the homeless people, we try and offer them food and they don't want it. And then they're nice. They're like the nicest.
Exactly.
Anyway.
They don't
yeah.
want food. They definitely want alcohol. I said to one homeless guy in front of Market of Choice one time, I said, I think his name was Brett, and he always is like, I'm a vet, and he always is like smoking something he shouldn't be smoking. But I said, why don't you just put a sign up? Because I go in there and I buy you a sandwich and you never want it. Your sign says you're hungry. But you're not hungry because I just bought you at Market of Choice a $15 sandwich and you don't want it. I said, so I'll save it for my 16-year-old, but why don't you just have a sign that says, need money for vodka? I think people would appreciate the honesty. You heard it here first at Reliant Roundtable. Let's cut to a commercial real quick. So we're going to cut to a commercial. We're just going to read an ad really quickly, and then we're going to come
Probably
back.
for vodka, right?
Probably for
Absolute,
vodka.
yeah.
Are you having a good time?
Yeah.
See, it's not scary at
it's-
all. Like that's why, like when people are like, "What are you gonna?" I'm like, "We're just gonna talk about. We're gonna shoot the shit about what's going on in the town you live in and sell real estate in." But I do find it fascinating with the big box stores because you would think with a college
It's been
town,
so frustrating for us.
I don't know.
I mean, they got
like it.
Chick-fil-A in. My 16-year-old works at Chick-fil-A. Look at your
Oh, really?
face. Yeah,
I guess I'm the NIMBY, huh?
You're the NIMBY and the necrophiliac. Okay, and let's cut to the commercial. Raul, we got it? What, will you put it on the prompter? It's okay. This episode is sponsored by Reliant Photography, a company built to be a real estate agent's best friend. From scroll-stopping 3D tours to standout headshots for LinkedIn to creating really cool social content that actually gets you seen, Reliant Photography helps you show up like the pro you are. Because in today's market, it's not just about selling homes, it's about building a presence. They streamline your online world so you can focus on closing deals in the real one. Reliant Photography, making sure your brand works just as hard as you do.
Yeah, love it.
Love it. Okay, so I know you're pressed for time, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up. So if I'm a first-time buyer in Corvallis, or I have a little chunk of money, I'm a football player that got $200,000 and wants to buy some apartment buildings or a piece of land to build some tiny cottages to make $2,500 a month from 18 of them. What's my first step? How do they contact you? What's the first step?
Yeah. I mean, I love working with people that are trying to invest and better their life and think long term. Those are my favorite. Those are my people. You can contact me. I mean, my call or text is always best. 541-745-9470. I've got somewhat of an Instagram presence, not enough, but
Well, we're
I
going
need
to
to
work on that.
that.
You got to
All
work
right.
on that with me because I got your whole brand. Your
Yeah.
whole brand is investing. It's like,
Yeah, he's the guy in Corvallis.
You're the guy-
Do you still lead that group in Corvallis?
Yeah.
yeah.
So they have an investing group, and Ryan's like one of the founders of it, and he teaches other people how to do it.
We should be shooting
So it's
content on
very-
that. We
it's
should be
very,
doing well, you'll get great pieces from this that
Mhm.
will be amazing for your brand. But you should be, because you have to remember this next generation, anybody under the age of 30 is going here. You know what I mean? They're not going to WW. They're not going to go word of mouth because if you don't live on social media, you don't exist to them. You're not real. That's the reality of the next generation and utilizing all these platforms we have access to. And you don't have to tap dance or be anything but you, which
Dress
is
up
what
as a samurai. I've got a
you don't have to
video
dress up
dressed
as a
up as samurai and
unless
one
you
as a cowboy.
unless you
I'll
want
have to share those with
we
you.
don't judge. But no, you don't have to anymore.
Well, that's where your power
Yeah.
skills come in, right? You're teaching people how to be authentic on camera.
Yeah. And
you're
I've been doing this
coaching.
for 30 years. I mean, I coach the big people that like get the value of coaching,
Well, that's
you
why I
know.
was excited to come today, is to meet you
Yeah,
and hear
it's
about it.
interesting
I
because
pop up a few names of people that you coach.
oh my God. I mean, that you would know Caitlin Clark, Tom Brady, Alex Rodriguez, Tim Tebow,
Bill
Whitney
Gates, right?
Cummings, Bill and Melinda Gates, Eric Andre.
And you do the top real estate
I do a
agents. If
lot
they're
of
on TV,
realtors that are
there's a
on
good chance
TV.
that you're
Exactly.
coaching
Aaron
them.
Kerman, Josh Flagg. But yeah, meaning it's just the reality is you have got to be, if you're thinking like you're an investment guy,
Mhm.
you
It
need to
totally is.
invest so that the next generation and the next generation invests in you and
Mhm.
your team.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they won't,
Mhm.
right? And it's not about like, it's interesting when we approach people to do this podcast, they're like, well, am I going to get the questions? What are you going to ask me? What am I? And I'm like, just your story. What makes your point of view? You're just going to be you.
Mhm.
And I think
And
after
you found his story, right?
100, we found your story in the first 8 seconds. And I think what the couple people who have done this thus far, because we just launched it, they're like, oh, that was so easy. Oh, that was so great. But what's great is now this is great content for you and so on and so on. And then as people start to scroll, they'll go, oh, I want to take this guy's course. I want him to teach me how to invest. I want to buy something. Because this next generation, they're making money and you know, through content, through NIL and you know, I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
I could see a lot of opportunities with Oregon State and you working with and being
totally.
helping all of their media relation
Absolutely.
people too.
100%. We just launched
they
a
need help.
podcast with my son who's 16 called The Jump. And he interviews athletes. He's interviewed tons from OSU that are making the jump from high school to college to the pros. And one of the big things he talks about is like NIL and money and
It's changed
it
things.
changed the whole game.
Flipped it all upside
Flipped
down.
it all upside down. And what are
Wow.
they doing with that? Do they have money managers? Are they being smart with their money? And so, yeah, I mean, media is where it's at. Storytelling, it's where it's at. But you were amazing.
Thank
I'm
you so
glad I
much for
didn't.
inviting me.
I'm
Ryan's a
glad
power
you
player.
came. I'm sad I miss Sue, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
came.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell Sue hi.
I
Tell Sue
will.
hi.
I will.
Yeah,
I
it
will.
wasn't her
She's-
fault, we
No,
had
And
a-
next
we
time
had
we'll
a-
get
Just
Sue
one
on
conflict.
too.
Yeah, she's
yeah.
got a lot of stories from being
Right.
in real estate
Yeah.
40 plus
And
years.
I love
40
those kind of
years.
stories.
Yeah,
Exactly.
She's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time. Catch you on the
Thank
flip
you.
side.
Bye-bye.